What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Bayside Fabrication YouTube channel. We are tackling the K Series 911 swapped again today, and we are buttoning up the intake manifold. So the plan today is to get the Plenum. I know I've been saying Plenum on other videos, but it's Plenum. I'm just from New England and I talk like an idiot sometimes, so that's just the way it goes. So what we're doing now is we are gonna get this Plenum finished up. I bought material to build a large fuel rail. I will be picking up a fuel pressure regulator, welding AN fittings, blah, 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 and doing all sorts of cool stuff. So for the time being, we're going to get this squared away. And what we're doing here is I want to make a nice profile. I had it like a 45 cut here, so I'm looking to kind of maybe radius a little bit and just kind of smooth it out. But essentially what we're doing is going to be making a 4.5 inch wide plenum here. And I am going to make that out of this 1/8 inch plate, which is what the this is also obviously made out of. And I have a little cardboard template, and I'll show you how we're going to trace this out. Check it out, guys. We have our little 4.5 inch strip of cardboard that we cut, and we are simply just going to trace it out like that. Slice this up, and that's going to be a template. All right, there's a little template here. We have where our bends kind of start. So you can see I left a little tail on this, so we're going to start on one side and effectively tack it and just kind of pull it and wrap it around. And then we'll get it and trim it on this side at the very end. Okay, so just showing you a little of what I'm doing here. You can see the bow from the heat on the plate here, and that's really not a problem. What we're gonna do is take this piece of angle iron and there we go. So that's gonna straighten it out. And now we can feel free to go ahead and get this tacked into place. And once it's tacked, we can really just work it right around. All right, so what I did is we gave this a heavy tack, is what I call it. So we tacked it pretty good here. And now we'll let it cool for a second and pull this angle off, and then we'll start wrapping the aluminum right around that radius. All right, so this is my idea. I think will probably work. You can see I have another piece of angle clamped here. I have this this locked in there, and we're just going to, let's see if we can not break these welds. It's gonna be all right. So wrapping it around, kind of doing it by hand, got off the rails on me a little bit. So we're just going to go here and give this sucker a real deal bend. It was just fighting me too much, so I'm opting to just give this a nice little radius here. All right. Now all I have to do is just trim this excess off to match this side. All right, guys. Well, I have this whole backside and bottom welded up. Now I just have this cap here. So what I'm gonna do is just, I'm gonna pop this off. What we're gonna do is just make sure everything's all cleaned up here and looking good, but we're ready to roll. But this for now will get us to allow us to mount our fuel rail and all sorts of stuff. So all I gotta do is some final trimming on here. And it's kind gonna pop it in there for now. You can see it all fits pretty darn good. And we just need to go and trace out this excess here and kind of, you know, file it down just a little bit to get a nice 45. You know, that's kind of what we want there, not so much that. So we'll kind of just go and just touch up the radius a little bit. Just a little fine tuning here. Now we're gonna go just inside the line quite a bit. Well, not quite a bit, but well, guys, here's the final mock-up here. And it's going to look something like this. So we just want to maintain our nice 45s on our edges. And we're just going to tack one side and just kind of get everything fitted. There's a little slight gap here that we just got to throw a clamp on once we start getting it tacked in place, but everything should line up. And it's looking good. I'm pretty fired up about this, actually. It's gonna be a nice little intake manifold. Happy I went this route. All right, y'all, got it. Finally, all tacked up. We're gonna do a final test fit here. We are a tight squeeze on that power steering pump, but man, it looks pretty good. So like I said, we're gonna hang tight on the throttle body for now, because I'm not sure, I'm gonna have a feeling it's gonna have to go like do one of these deals. So, I mean, for all I know, it could go here. Can't really go here because our thermostat's in the way, but you know what I mean? Realistically, it probably will do something like that. But that's really something that we're gonna have to wait till it gets in the car. But for now, we'll at least have the manifold done. And there's a few other things I wanna do. We gotta add some vacuum source. I'm gonna add a vacuum source block to it. Probably on the, I don't know, somewhere around here on the bottom side, to run all of our vacuum sources for our blow-off valve, wastegate, things like that, fuel pressure regulator, etc. And then now we're gonna start with a fuel rail as well. But until then, let's get this welded up and finished. All right, there we go, guys. Hot off the press. Came out pretty good. I'm gonna let this sucker cool down, bolt it back up, and it'll be in its final position to start mocking up the fuel rail, and we gotta pop the injectors in and get them all spaced out and all that stuff. What we have here is our factory fuel rail, and I'm going to be making our own fuel rail in this setup. And what I'm going to be using here is a piece of aluminum tube that is 22 millimeters inside diameter, or on the American side, approximately 7/8 inside diameter. So that should be plenty of fuel inside there. I'm thinking we'll do like -10, excuse me, -10 AN feeds, and then a -6 return, or something along those lines. I'm not quite sure the exact sizing. I'm gonna check a couple other builds to see what other people did. Just because I don't want to have any kind of fueling issue. So what we're going to do now is just pop off this fuel rail. Now, this stock fuel rail here, we're just popping it off so we can use it as a template to space out the fuel injectors. So now we're just going to be using this as a template, and let me show you what we are going to use as our fuel injector bosses. I actually purchased some pre-made fuel injector connectors. I bought these guys here, and these were cheap. I think they were like 14 bucks for, I think I got 4 of them. I don't know if they come with 4. Yeah, 4 of them. 14 bucks for all 4. And now we're gonna be running, these are ID injector dynamics. These are 1300s. I'm pretty sure we're gonna run out of injector on this deal, but for the time being, we're gonna run these. And these are actually short little guys, but you can see they're gonna fit nice and snug right in here. All right guys, so we just threw it in the old mill drill, and now our holes are definitely all going to be in the same exact line. So there's no chance of one of these kind of getting wonky side to side or anything like that. Now we're taking these injector bosses here, and we're just cutting them down, and we're just simply so this is what we're left with. So that's the goal here. And as you can see, these are exactly 5/8, and this was exactly 5/8. So I just took just honestly, I just faced it enough to just take a little bit off, and these suckers now are a press fit. All right, now we're just adding a little finishing touch here. Just adding a little chamfer to our bosses. So A, it just cleans up the sharp edge here, and B, you know, it kind of acts as like a funnel, if you will. So the way I look at things is, if, you know, fuel is a liquid, and is liquid gonna flow easier through a nice bevel where it can roll right in and out? Or is it gonna flow in easier with just a flat surface and have to do a direct 90? So this is the obvious answer, that it's gonna be easier to flow in that direction. So it takes quite literally like 3 minutes to do all this, and we're done. So here's a fun thing we can do too. I mean, if you guys don't own a lathe, lathes are rad. You can do so much cool stuff with these. So we're gonna start off with a real slow speed here. This one's nice because it's variable speed. Now we got our fancy little fuel rail here. We're about to tack up our rail. So I'm just gonna throw a few tacks on here. This ensures that it's gonna be nice and flat. This is my welding table. Just so you guys know, it's 1-inch thick plate steel. So this is a really nice flat surface that works well for a lot of things just like this. So we're gonna tack this, and then spin it around, tack the other side. All right, now they got them tacked, we're just kind of going over the same idea, just keep everything straight. I mean, when you start welding, things get wiggly no matter what. So this just keeps it as straight as possible and prevents the tube from, you know, wanting to dance and walk around and stuff. And also prevent these bosses from moving one way or another. So we're just bolting it to this piece of 2-inch square tubing I have, and I'm gonna start running beads on both sides here. All right, guys, we are now popping our injectors in, and we will devise some kind of clamp to hold down this fuel rail. These suckers should go right in. Yeah, there we go. Now I'm going out right now to pick up a Aeromotive fuel pressure regulator. So I'm gonna wait until doing really anything until I get that. That way I can figure out where that's gonna be mounted, if it's gonna be mounted remotely or on the rail, or if there's anywhere I can do that. And also we're gonna start figuring out our fittings here. So we have our fuel rail and injectors just sitting here. And I just picked up this Aeromotive fuel pressure regulator from a buddy of mine, Jonathan. Good friend of mine, and it's a brand new regulator, and we're just gonna find out how we want to mount this thing. So it comes with a gauge, so I'm almost thinking of popping the gauge off and maybe doing something like putting the gauge on the front of the fuel rail or somewhere where when you look into the engine bay you can actually see the fuel pressure. Other than that, I really don't have a good solution to get, you know, what the pressure is at the rail. So that's kind of my thought. There's really nowhere else in the vehicle where you can see it. You know, if obviously this is mounted here, I guess you might be able to see it if it's like this, but this also might be kind of tall. So we're just kind of wrapping my head around this. Either way, that's what we're using for a fuel pressure regulator, this nice Aeromotive unit. So check this out, guys. Doing something a little different here on these mounts. First off, I just zip tied the fuel rail down, so now everything is tight and the injectors are all square. They're not like moving around. There are big fat O-rings on injectors and fuel rails normally, so there is some play, as you can see here. So the idea is to get these all square and everything. But here's an idea I had. I kind of was thinking of how I could mount this fuel rail in a way that's smart and is functional. So I cut some 3/16 aluminum with a hole in it that fits just around the fuel rail. And what I think I'm gonna do is just make a couple tabs here that I'll weld to the runner. And then I'll just through bolt them through here. I just went and sheared it, just rough. You know, you can see it's just all rough. Then I took and ground it smooth, like on this one. This is gonna slide over here, and it should work, be very effective. Something a little different, you know, a little over-engineered for what we're doing here, but you know, it's something that works. And in all honesty, I mean, it is a little tricky to kind of, you know, get tabs and stuff really small and all that. So I was just thinking something that would be an easier solution. And like I said, this, you know, it seems like it's over-engineered, but I think at the end of the day, it's probably the easiest way to do it. All right, it's the next day here, and we're headed out to the scales. Now, I'm doing this right now because I got some good news that there's a guy coming to look at the motor for this tonight. So I wanted to weigh the car before the motor gets pulled. So I got my fingers crossed, and I'm hoping that it all works out. He's happy with it. I mean, it's a really good running M96 motor, so there's really no mystery about it. So we're gonna get this thing fired up, head over to the scales at the local solid waste facility, and get a weight on this thing. Now I think their scales only go to the nearest 10 pounds. So, I mean, it's not gonna be super precise, but it'll be good enough. All right, guys, we are rolling into the scales right now. Now the scales are all in tons, so the weight will be like 1.9 something or other. So you just have to multiply by 2,000. So we're just gonna roll through the scales. We'll take a quick little snapshot of it, turn around, and that's our weight. Super simple. I'm just gonna wait on the car. Yeah, I'm just gonna take a picture of it if that's okay. All right. So we got 1.67. So we just weighed in at 1.67 tons, which is 3,340 pounds. Now we have to subtract myself. We also have to subtract her. Her stuff is all in here, so we're gonna weigh us all back at the house on our bathroom scale. and then we'll have a precise measurement of how much this car weighs. We're also at, what, a third of a tank of fuel, so that's a consideration as well. But we'll try to replicate this once the K-swap is in, and see how much weight we can really save with this whole setup. So excited to see how that pans out. All right, we're back at the house after the scales, and you'll notice I got her little backpack on, me, her, and our bathroom scale. So let's see what we weigh. All together, we're in at right at 250 pounds. So what do we have? 3,340 minus 250. So that's 3,090 pounds is what the car weighs. So I thought these cars are supposed to be like 2,900 pounds, but obviously the scales don't lie. This also has a little bit of stereo equipment in it. It has like a box in the back and a sub or amp rather in the front. So there's kind of some BS in there, and also, like I said, a third tank of fuel. So yeah, I guess it could be right around 29, high 2,900 something without fuel and that extra crap in there. But that's a good base point. So I'm gonna leave everything alone, and once we pull the motor out and get the K in there, we'll see how much it weighs. But if I had to bet, I think with all the turbo stuff, I mean, this is just a wild guess, I'm gonna go out on a limb and just say it will weigh 2,900. 2,915, just to get specific. So that's my guess. 2,915 pounds with the K in it, full interior, air conditioning, pump, you know, all that stuff. So that's my guess. Let me know what you guys think it's gonna weigh, because I'm interested to see what your thoughts are, the weight difference on these two. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on the weight difference. And for now, we're waiting for this guy to show up to check the motor out. I'll take him for a drive this evening, and hopefully he's into it and it's something he wants to move forward with. And that would be great news, because we can get this motor out of here and really have a seamless process.